Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and recommendations. Now let's begin. Today I am reviewing The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, Book 1 in the Dearly Beloathed series by Brigitte Knightley. We follow Oriane Farim, a healer from the Order of Halen, and Osric Mordaunt, a fireman who entered into her office and was going to kidnap her in order to heal him. His issue? He's dying because he has Saith degeneration, or Saith rot, and Saith is basically the magic that everyone has magic in this world, and how it basically is part of the human body system. And I really like how Brigitte was looking at this, because she was able to kind of just say, yeah, we have these healers and they're part of this. There's multiple orders. We have the healer orders, or the Halen, and they've studied all the different ways to heal the bodies. They are the best of the best. But then they've never really been able to figure out how to, if something happens to block Saith from being able to heal, like what happened with Mordaunt, because he is part of the Fire, and the Firens are basically murderers. But we have a lot of violence in this book. That is a very good point to make. In this book, we have torture of the graphic kind. We do see, but nothing for our dear heroes, which is very, very good, at least. Neither of our heroes have happened to have that happen to them. Other people are not so lucky, but he was healed very badly by someone not in the order before, and he has this numbness called topraxia that is spreading from his through his arm, and he is basically going to die, not because of the disease, but because if he loses his magic, which is what's going to happen if Saith rot continues to occur, but because his order does not appreciate it if you can't use your magic. I do like the fact that we do have this exploration of the magic, because as much as the author tried to say this is an original work, you can't avoid the fact that it is a fanfic. It is a rewrite of a fanfic called Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. And there's been plenty of people that have been talking about this, and I'm not really going to go into the ethical dilemmas of this, other than the fact that I found it very weird that the publishers, they've been very, very pushy this time around, saying, yeah, these and it's not just her. There's been Rose in Chains and a couple of others. I don't remember which other ones they were, but they've all been pushed as Hermione fan fiction turned original work. And this one, technically, in quotes, is one without is a rewrite there. But you can't avoid the fact that there is essence from the original work. You do see bits and bobs. She did make plenty of changes as someone who adored the original fanfic. There were plenty of changes. And what I appreciated, because I tried reading this other one, I forget the name of it, that was a fanfic turned book. And you could tell that there was something, because I didn't know that it was a fanfic turned book, because also the fact that it wasn't really as publicized. So I don't know why, because I would think that the original author, who shall not be named, would get a little too happy, but that's also on the publishers. I would really hope that they wouldn't go after the author for this, because it wasn't like the author was greenlighting it. It was the publishers that were pushing, oh my God, these are the books that were from the fanfics. But this one wasn't a serial number that filed off fanfic turned book. I know there are some that are like that, but this one definitely isn't. There you see the vibes, you see where she got some of the ideas, the essence of it, but it's definitely different. And I'm not going to do a compare and contrast between the two, because that's just no, because she has made it abundantly clear that this isn't D. Matt Boople or Draco Malfoy in the Mortifying Ordeal turned original book, but you can't miss the fact that there are things from the fanfic from the original series that were brought into the book. Now, I did like what she did to try to make it original, and I do see what some people were annoyed at. Like, I adored the Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, and I can't tell if it's because of how much I loved the original fanfic, because I was worried that I was worried that there was going to be something lost, because like I think that may be some of it, and because with that other book, and I don't even remember the name of the book, but I know that there was something about it that was bugging me. And what I liked with this one is that she kept it to in a way where the use of magic, the use of things made sense. It wasn't, because like in this other world, it was like this, she tried to take, and I think it was a Star Wars fanfic, like a Raylo, I want to say, fanfic turned original book, but it was taken from the Star Wars world into a more, I don't even know. It was very weird, and I definitely didn't finish it because it was just a weird, I didn't like it. But that suffice to say that at least with this one, it felt similar enough, definitely different. And what I really, really liked about this book, and I also got the hardback, because I haven't been buying hardbacks. I haven't been buying physical books because of the move, and I know I'm going to be moving into a shoebox. I'm trying to want to make sure that I only have books that I know I'm going to want to bring with me, and I am glad that I have this because it's just gorgeous to look at anyway, and I don't want to just have a book just because it's pretty, but also just being able to look at it and see that there is a map. And you also get it in the ebook, because I am an ebook and audiobook reader, and the audiobook was just, oh my god, I loved the audiobook. It was fantastic because we get two narrators because of Osric and Orion, and in the book we do get a pronunciation guide, which you need a pronunciation guide with these types of books, because when I was first looking at this, I was like, how in the actual F do you pronounce her name? Because it's like, I appreciate the originality idea in fantasy books of wanting original books, like original names. But sometimes it's like, why, if we're going to have funky names, at least give us a pronunciation guide. And we also have a map, and we also have a listing of the orders that are in the book and little descriptors. But I think also, I wish we had throughout the book, because I think she was using this as like, and a bit also about the world in general. I think she was using this and also descriptors of some of the other different things as well, like the Dayfall and those types of things. I feel like it was a time. I'm not looking for things to nitpick because I am not that type of book reviewer. I mean, we know if you've listened to any of my previous podcast episodes, you know that if I find something annoying, I will find a way to nitpick. But after reading some other reviews, I do see why some people were a bit annoyed with some of this, because it did get a little confusing, because basically they're in a version of the UK where if way back when William the Conqueror conquered, if they beat him back. So it's different kingdoms. So like Northumbria, blah, 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 blah. And the various orders, they are really basically no man's lands. They don't really support any one kingdom in particular, allegedly. But one of the complaints that I did see some people talking about, and what I think does make sense in the fanfic to real book world, is that in fanfic, you do have your established characters. So you can see why Draco and Hermione hated each other because of their roles. But in the Irresistible Urge, they're talking about, oh, we're enemies because we hate each other purely because of the orders that we're in. But the way they're talking about it, it's like there's this great natter between them where something happened between their orders in the past. And I just wish we had like a couple more sentences to give us a bit more of that historical context of, because they make it seem like they're mortal enemies, but they hate each other, they can't be together. Or is it simply the fact that the orders stay separate? Because I think she also mentioned something about being with a hedge witch at some point and it didn't go very well. I don't know. Maybe that was also something that was messing up on my end with my context of listening to the book and missing something there. But the way that they're talking and the way that they're like, we hate each other purely because of the fact that, because I mean, it sounded like they'll heal other groups. They just won't heal his group purely. And it sounded like it's purely because of the fact that they kill people for hire and they heal people. And it's like, okay, is that why? Because that's not really a good reason to be mortal enemies, you know? Like, especially if they're healers and they're supposed to be the best of the best and they heal everyone. Shouldn't that, because she's basically bullied into healing him by her boss, Xanthi. And I love Xanthi because she's like 200 years old. And Osric says, how is she not dead yet? It's just the way that he says it. And honestly, that's really what you're looking for in the book is you're getting the banter, you're getting the vibes, you're getting all of that. And that is what I got. And that is what I wanted, was the banter and an adventure. And I feel like I got that and I appreciated that, but I do wish we got a bit more background on the why. And I hope maybe we get that in book 2, like just a little bit more on, okay, they hate each other. Why do they hate? Why are they supposed? Because it sounds like it's more of an expectation that they're supposed to hate each other than anything else. Like they're supposed to be enemies because they're supposed to be enemies, but we don't get that. Like it just doesn't feel. It just, as the reader, I'm not seeing that reason. And that's really one of the only main things that was kind of just bugging me a little bit throughout the book. It was kind of just like, why are they enemies? Why do they hate each other? Because it was hate at first sight. And I loved it. I loved the fact that they kept on bickering and they kept on calling each other creative names. That was entertaining to read. And really that was what I was more interested in. And I did see that there were some people that were complaining about it was confusing being about where they were, because she was incorporating the whole old ways aspect. And I like the fact that Orianne, when she was first learning how to be a Halen, because Saith doesn't really have any cure. And way back when Orianne was first becoming a Halen and she was an apprentice, she was looking into some of the old ways, into the old magic, and it was all about the moon, and going to different places. And that's what I found interesting, because yes, we get, like what I was saying before about, we have the essences from the original fanfic, and we also get the essences from the original book series. But I liked how she twisted it a little to make it original. Like we have ley lines, like that is a thing in magic, like in magic books, like we have ley lines. But what she did and what we discover is that it seems like it's more powerful when the ley lines are connected and one of the other orders tracks the ley lines, and you can travel. Instead of traveling by Floo powder, you travel by waystone, and the waystones are managed by, and you go to different inns, and you go to different places where the waystones are at, and you either get a drink or you like pay a little bit of money. And the only reason why Orianne agreed, like I said, is because she was bullied by Xanthi, and the only reason why Xanthi agreed is because Mordaunt is saying, like, I'm going to pay you the money that you're needing. Because we have 2 issues in the book. First is that Mordaunt is dying, and he is going to die anyway. But then also there's this pox that is going around killing children. and Orion and her group are trying to figure out how to cure it. However, no one is giving money to be able to fund it. Like, they've been trying to get the funding, and they need like 20 million, whatever it is, like gold pieces, whatever the monetary amount is called in this world. It's like, so he says, I will pay you this amount if you help me. Like, you will, well, first he's like, you will help me and then I'll pay you. And then they're like, nah, that's not how this works. You're the one that needs us. So put this money into our account and then we will help you. And so he kind of has the money, but he really doesn't, because his family was once wealthy, but his father was an idiot. He was a jerk, and he basically ran them into the ground. So that's why he joined this order, because it pays really, 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 really well to kill, I guess. So he's been working on rebuilding that wealth, and he likes to he's basically he likes to buy nice things, and he's been rebuilding the wealth. So he has the money, and except doing this kind of made him go back to not quite ground zero, but he's going to have to sell some of his nice things to be able to help regain that wealth again. But he does it, and Orion begins to help. But she's like, no, this is stupid, because I was young and naive, and this is a career ender if it doesn't work, because people will think I'm nuts. But it could also be a career maker if it does work. Like, she's already doing really, really well for herself in the order. But then it's really weird, because it's like, okay, why? It's the poorest of the poor. It's the poor children. And this pox so they've been working really hard to try to cure it. And with this money now, they're able to really focus on trying to find a cure. So it's kind of like, why are they being such jerks, besides the fact that, oh, it's the poor children? Like, but it's like, oh, so at the same time you would think, oh, it's the poor, let's look really good. And that's kind of like where their thoughts are. It's like, well, you're going to be able to help the poor children. Like, you're going to look really good. Like, why not? But that's part of it is fit. So we have these two things going on, and we have a lot going. We do have a lot going on in the book, but the main thing, like, I feel like the main driving factor, the main reason why people the main reason why I like the book is because of the banter, because of the bickering. And yes, they're both kind of not the most likable characters, because they're both just a bit on the jerk side. But that's also kind of what makes it more fun, is because of the butting of the heads. And I just loved it, because she is just brash, no nonsense. She's like, I don't want to help you. I don't like you. I'm only doing this for Xanthi. I'm only doing this because she told me to. And so I love it. And we do see her character when she's away from him. And that was just wonderful, being able to see her. And it was just, and then being able to see how he is with her when he sees how, when she overuses her safe, how that affects her. Because when you do that, it extracts the cost. And in her case, it's the chapping of her hands. And that can get really, really gross if it gets too far. And he doesn't like that, because it hurt her. It was just so cute. And of course, he's the one that falls first. But they're just idiots. And I've been doing my best to try not to squeal throughout the book, because it just is so cute, because they are just so cute with their idiotness. And I can't wait for book 2 to come out, because she's had her thoughts about him as well, and she's been kind of starting to realize it. My other complaint is there is a moment where they each decide to have a moment of masturbation, and they realize, they're both alone when they have their masturbation, but they have shame with this, because she's in the bath, and she's thinking about a hand, and then she realizes that hand is black. It has black gloves, and then she realizes it belongs to Morden, and then she feels shame as she orgasms and is like, okay, did we really need that? Like, I don't like that. Just I see what she's doing. There's like, did we really need to have shame? Like, I see it. I didn't like it. I'm really hoping, like, this is a slow burn, and she is the queen of slow burns, and I can't wait for them to realize that they actually do like each. I mean, he realizes at first that he's in love with her, and she stole his heart, and she doesn't know it, and that just she didn't know it, and she stole his heart, and he just realized it, and that made me so mad. But the other thing that I really liked about the way that this was different from the original book, I'm just wrapping things up to get away from my squealingness, is the way that she, like, because she has she had provided definitions. And I thought that was really cool because she said, okay, this is an old Norse word. This is an old English word. So she wasn't just making shit up. It was like Deoful is Old English for devil. So everyone has a Deoful that comes from your magic. And it reminds me of in his Dark Materials. It's like a mix of the original. So yes, I just found it very interesting that they had their animal familiars in his Dark Materials. The Damon was born with the child and grew with the child, and that was similar to what was done in this world, except it was the creature is summoned by magic, and they have no control over what this creature is. But this is kind of similar to the Patronus charm in Harry Potter, except in the Patronus charm while it can send a message in this world of the Irresistible Urge, it sends the message, but it also can have a full conversation like the daemon. So it was a very interesting mix between the two because this spell, this magic is part of who they are. It can give counsel to their person and also to others. It can have conversations. So it's part of who they are. I thought it was a very interesting mix between the two. I thought it was overall it was a very interesting and very fun book, and I really can't wait for book 2. And I thought it was very cute, very fun. This is definitely not a book of deep stuff that's happening. I saw that I definitely see where she was trying for the deep vibes with going after more things with and I do see it's just funny that she was trying to say this isn't this because it's clear that this isn't the original fanfic because she did change quite a bit. That is very true. She did change quite a bit. But it's just funny that she's trying to say this is a rewrite. And then the publishers are all, this is the fanfic turn. But yeah, that's just okay. I don't know how this is going to avoid a lawsuit, but okay. But we'll see how that turns out. So anyway, beautiful cuddlebugs, stay cozy, stay comfortable, stay cool. I will catch you next time. Goodbye.